Hi, I'm Melissa.
And I'm Jesse.
Welcome to the Reimagine Success podcast. We're a husband and wife team who want to make a difference and change the way we all view success.
We've had the privilege of interviewing so many amazing, talented, and successful guests. Each one of them experienced success in their own way.
We want to change how society views success by inspiring you to live your best life and celebrate your successes no matter what that looks like, big and small.
Success looks so different for everyone, and we want you to reimagine your success. Welcome to Season 2 of
Reimagine Success. Welcome back to Season 2 of Reimagine Success.
We are in the fourth quarter, the home stretch of Season 2, and it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, I mean, the first part of this season has just been amazing with all of the knowledge that we've learned and all of the guests that we've had on. And we just couldn't be more grateful and thankful for all of our listeners tuning in all over the world. We've added a couple of new countries to our listening list. So we're so excited to have you guys join us.
Yeah, we're in about 27 countries now, which is just mind-blowing that people all over the world are listening to us speak each week. And we just want to say how much we appreciate you guys. Yeah. And you are our family. You are the people that we are spending our time making this content for, because we really do love you guys and want to help you grow and to learn and to just be the best humans that you can be. So thank you for tuning in. And if you like content like this and you want more of it, well, the best thing to do is to go to patreon.com/Creative Global and sign up for our Patreon and get all this bonus content that's just super cool stuff, extra interviews, ad-free video podcasts. Because if you're just listening to this on Spotify, you're not getting our beautiful faces. So you're missing out.
Our silly faces.
Yeah. And you definitely won't see our super cool guest who's coming on in just a minute.
Yeah, we're so excited about today and our guest that we are bringing on. So with that, let's go ahead and introduce him.
All right. On the show today, we have got Nelson Cade III. And if you don't know Nelson Cade III, well, you must be living under a rock, because in February 2020, Nelson turned all 4 chairs on the NBC hit show The Voice with his version of Stevie Ray Vaughan's Pride and Joy. He went on to make it in the top 20 on John Legend's team when COVID-19 took the world for a ride. So he took a ride back east and hit the road performing at various venues, picking up more traction at each stop. Born and raised in Orange County, California, Nelson Cade III began his musical journey in first grade with classical training in piano. His training continued strong into middle school when he was accepted into the Orange County School of the Arts. Around junior year in high school, Nelson transferred to Anaheim High, where he picked up and taught himself guitar while walking back and forth to school. The singing came soon after that. Nelson only recently quit his job to pursue music full-time as his professional career. The seed was planted while walking by a farmer's market in downtown LA. Guitar in hand, he was stopped by one of the market's organizers and asked if he wanted a gig there.
Ooh.
Since that day, his appearances on The Voice beamed his talents into households across the nation. Nelson's a multi-generational, see what he did there? Yeah. Multi-generational, a lover of all different sounds and styles of music. You can catch him playing a variety of genres at his shows such as blues, pop, folk, indie rock, and oldies, while some of his originals mixed in, which are great, by the way. His recent released debut single, Freedom, again, awesome, is streaming everywhere. Currently, Nelson performs locally in the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, for those that don't know, but will begin his nationwide tour in Nashville, or already began his nationwide tour in Nashville back in February of 2022. And he's just all over the place right now. We happen to catch him in the midst of his tour, which you can check out his calendar for tickets and info. But right now he's here on Reimagine Success with us, and we couldn't be happier. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome, Nelson.
Well, thank you for having me. This is so cool. I've been looking forward to this for at least a couple of weeks now. I'm happy that this all got scheduled the way it did, because let me tell you, man, touring is a busy lifestyle.
I bet. Now, are you home right now for is this a quick little break?
This is my room. I am at home. I literally got home about 48 hours ago.
Okay.
Had the world's best sleep in my own bed for the first time in like a month.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And where did you just come back from?
Oh man, let's see if I can get this all right. Started off, so we left Baltimore. We went 33 hours straight to Galveston, Texas.
Woo!
Played Galveston, Dallas, Houston, Austin, and San Antonio, then New Orleans, and then we came back.
Wow. Now, how has it been? I know we're going to dive into everything, but I just want to ask you, how are you feeling right now? Like where is your emotions at?
Ooh, my emotions right now. I mean, are we trying to, you know what? No, let's just be real.
Yeah, be real.
Right now,
That's what we are.
I am happy because it's friendly, familiar faces, and I remember you guys, and that was a good time. And like, it's just, I feel comfortable. Like I'm back in my bed and everything is nice right now. But at the same time, in 48 hours, I'm going to be real close to you guys. I'm going to be back in Atlanta.
Nice.
Yeah, there's so much happening. And I don't want to say that I'm overwhelmed, but it's
you can say it.
It gets overwhelming.
You can say it because that's a true, real, genuine emotion, and it can be overwhelming. And you just have to, take those breaths and be like, "Oh man, I'm in it for the ride," and I know you are. But we're so proud of you. We actually saw Nelson. He performed at the Believe Music Hall here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, I happened to be on that bill as well, and we didn't know who was all going to be there until a couple weeks before they started putting out the final lineups and that sort of thing. And Nelson's name was on it, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." 4-chair Turner from The Voice, but. You see a lot of people on The Voice and you don't really know what to expect because, they're being produced by all these great people. But when you took the stage, you lit it up and your stuff was great. And we're going to get into all that in a minute. But before we do, why don't you tell everybody a little bit more about your story? We kind of went into it some with your bio, but just tell people where you came from and how you got to this point where you're at today.
Ooh, where I came from. I came from a very sheltered childhood. I'm the gated community kid, and I'm the oldest sibling of 3. Got a little brother, little sister. I was, goody two shoes, little Christian boy. That's where I came from. And oh man, I had I enjoyed my childhood. I got to, I think, we talked about how I grew up in Orange County. Anaheim. I was so close to Disneyland that from my window, from my bedroom, I could go to sleep and look at the fireworks. That's how
cool. That's so cool.
I mean, it was kind of cool, but when it's every day, it just becomes a part of the day. You get used to it. Yeah. There's so many random things that really, molded who I am today. And I think that church was a big part of it. I don't know if you've ever heard of this denomination of Protestant Christianity, but I'm SDA. So I was Seventh-day Adventist. I consider myself spiritual more than religious now. But church was a huge molding period. I had a great youth group and the kids were just awesome. I had strong youth leaders and that was a really fun time. As far as my neighborhood goes, I had good neighborhood friends. I was definitely the catalyst of getting a lot of people to play outside. I was extremely hyper as a kid. I was that kid who would rally the troops at 7 a.m. because I didn't realize that people slept. So I would be knocking on all my friends' doors, want to play football? In the morning. That was me.
6 a.m. You're like, hello.
Exactly.
Peeking in the windows. Anybody up yet?
That was definitely me until video games hit, and then it was all indoor stuff for me. Loved video games. But yeah, now I'm the wandering minstrel type. I'm over here finding who I am and just trying to, I don't know, I'm really just trying to experience as much of life as I can. I feel like I'm finally in a place where I am able to accept and recognize most of what's around me. I lived a very sheltered life for a really long time, and so you think that everything. And all of a sudden you get smacked with the reality and it's nope, that was a rock that you've been living under.
Yeah, especially in the musician world where you are going into all these different cities, meeting all these people from different backgrounds, from different social groups and all this stuff, and it really challenges your worldview because you have to deal with all the stuff that you once thought was reality. And you're like, no, that's all different now. I've seen the world for what it actually is and who people really are. And I've got to know different groups of people, and it bursts that little bubble that you live in.
Yeah. It's a beautiful burst. It
Yeah.
really
It
is.
truly is.
Like, I can understand why there's a lot of illusions made in all these different gated communities and why parents want to shelter their kids. Like, it makes sense, but when you can understand how much good there is in the world and how much it over encumbers the bad,
Yes.
Mhm.
it's beautiful. It's amazing. Like, you have to be able to understand what dark is so you can truly appreciate light. Like, there's
Absolutely.
got to be a little bit of both.
Yes, exactly. Now, Nelson, I know that your time on The Voice was during COVID. Is that correct?
We
Yes.
were the season that literally got interrupted by COVID.
By COVID. Yes. Okay. So now take us back a little bit. When you first auditioned, you got the callback audition. Can you tell us a little bit about that? That he's already laughing, you guys. Can you tell us a little bit about that process and what you went through and what your emotions were like?
So it's a funny story because I don't know how many people know this. I didn't even sign up. My ex-girlfriend at the time, well, she was my girlfriend, she is now my ex. Yeah, our thing was we would just go into LA. She's a photographer. She would just take pictures of random things in LA, and I would just have my guitar with me, and I could wander about aimlessly for hours, be totally content. I just didn't want her alone in LA, just with the nice camera, just taking pictures. So
Right.
that was our thing. We would just go out, she'd take pictures, and I would just play.
Nice.
So I thought that's what we were doing. Instead, she drives by the convention center, drops me off, kicks me out the door, and she's like, all right, go play for these people. Hands me paperwork. I was like, what?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my life has been a series of cold calls, but not on my behalf. It's been pretty weird. Like, she believed in me. She was unbelievably supportive back when I was struggling to believe in myself. And yeah, she signed me up and she did all the things and just dropped me off. I had no idea what was going on that day.
Had you guys discussed the possibility of you ever trying out for something like this, or this just out of the blue? Like, she's like, all right, you're too talented. Just keep sitting here at home. I'm taking you and making you do this.
I mean, it came up in like jest,
Mhm.
Because I was doing gigs and everything at that point, but there would be at least once a week somebody was like, oh, you should try out for this, or you should try out for The Voice, or man, you should do something like that, and it's every time I heard that, I'm still struggling with I guess the best way to call it is imposter syndrome, but I would always hear that and think that's still flattering.
Yes.
I wouldn't be able to take that to heart. I wasn't in a place where I could accept it like that. So it was always just cool, whatever. And she was like, no, we really need to do this. And I don't know if everybody is aware of like all the behind the scenes of what it takes to actually get onto The Voice, but the preliminary things before anything gets filmed is exactly like American Idol. It's a convention center with thousands of people in line, and then you go and you sing for like 5 seconds in front of a whole panel, not a panel of judges. There's one proctor. It's another panel of like would-be contestants. So there's like 10 of you. You're in a semicircle. You walk forward. You sing your 5 seconds. You go back to the semicircle. Somebody else gets called, and then after everybody is done, they're like, "All right, cool. Numbers, 73, 5, and 60. Can you just stay with us for a couple more minutes? Everybody else, thank you so much. Not this year." Yeah. And it's like just like that.
Yep.
And they're not doing it to be mean or anything. It's just when you have several thousands of people in one day, and then you have to go to another city and do the same thing.
Right. So in that 5 seconds, what did you sing?
I think I sang Pride and Joy, but I'm not positive. It was such a small amount of time.
You just got dropped off. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah. And if you can believe this, that was a cappella. I did not have my guitar with me that day. I don't remember why. All I remember is that I was truly surprised, and I was unprepared in the sense that, I didn't go in mentally knowing this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm doing today. Like, I thought that we were just in LA for something.
Now, do you think that helped you, that you were unprepared? Because let's say you knew about it and that you were going for it, and you spent all this time like thinking about it. Do you think you may have like psyched yourself out a little bit before you got there if you weren't, just surprised with it?
I think I'm a weird case when it comes to that question. See, one of the things that my mom did, and like I said, my life has been a series of things like this happening.
Mm-hmm.
My mom got a saying from one of the matriarchs of her side of the family, which is, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So there is like at all times at least 3 to 5 hours worth of music just memorized in my head. I've been like that since I was like barely a teenager, and I never know when I need to perform. I don't know who I need to perform for or to what extent I have to perform. So there would be times where performing arts school, when I was in 6th grade going into 7th, I never even heard of a performing arts school. I thought everything was public or private. So cold call. My mom drops me off at this building. I've never heard of OSHA. It was like a bank building. It's like 7 stories tall. It's like in the middle of Santa Ana. It didn't look anything like a school. I was so confused. And she hands me my piano books and she's like, all right, go inside and play for these people. And I was like, I don't even know where I am. That was one of the
Seems like
greatest.
that happens all the time.
I'm telling you, that's been my life. So I feel like it served me well because I don't think that I psych myself out. You know, I have dealt with stage fright before, but I would argue that stage fright goes away as you accumulate experience. Because I mean, even on The Voice, it's been the same for years at this point. The night before, completely unaffected. I'm fine. The weeks leading up to it, I'm fine. I've performed for literally thousands of people live. The butterflies for me always hit as soon as my foot steps on the stage. You know, if people are cheering, like it's when you're actually there, all of a sudden it's real. It's not a theoretical thing that you can just like force yourself to accept. Like a roaring crowd or a quiet crowd, like it's these are things that are hard to, you know, mentally battle when you're actually present. But you know, you walk to the center, you get to your mark. There's, you know, for a lot of people, there's a different system. Mine is a short little prayer, deep breath. And then there's the first note, you know, the blue note. And I can't speak for everybody else, but once the song starts, once I, you know, start singing or I play the first chord or the note on the guitar, like I'm gone. I'm completely not there anymore. I'm in the song, I'm in the feeling, I'm in what I felt the first time I heard it or what the song means to me then or now or maybe in the future. Like it's never the same thing, but it's always somewhere else.
I love that. And you know, speaking of American Idol, it's really funny. American Idol was here in Atlanta and I worked behind the scenes. So I was in that auditorium that you talk about with the lineup of guests who are, you know, performers, singers that are trying to get on. And I have been through that entire process, but from the other point of view, where I'm watching these singers come out and being amazing or being terrible. I've seen them both. But, you know, it is like, I have witnessed performers in the back where they're singing and they're just, I'm like, oh man, they are going to get on American Idol. Their voice is so beautiful. They're so talented. And then when they get out in front of this panel of judges, they just lose it and they lose their voice and all of a sudden it's gone. And what comes out isn't this amazing, beautiful voice that I heard in the back performing. You know, so there are a lot of different ways that you can experience this. So I'm glad that you get out there, you take that breath, you take that moment to put yourself in the space and in the song. So that's really great that you do that. And that's great advice for all the listeners out there.
Yeah, I'm actually a little similar to you when I perform. Like people often ask me, are you nervous? Are you nervous? And it's like, no, like I don't get nervous because I'm prepared. You know, anything that I'm unsure of in myself, I get nervous about. So like when I was in college, I was a cello major and, you know, there was times where I would have to do these recitals and maybe I didn't practice enough and I didn't quite have the piece down the way I wanted it to. That's when I was nervous. But, you know, you throw a guitar on me and tell me to sing my favorite song. It's whatever. Like I know it like the back of my hand. I'll never be nervous doing that. As long, and I always tell people, whatever I feel confident about, I'll never be nervous. It's when I don't feel confident, that's where the nerves come in.
Yep. That preparedness changes everything. And if you were a cello major, that means that you know the difference between recitals and juries.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Juries is where the nerves hit me.
Juries. Oh my God.
Oh man.
Okay, so for all those listeners out there that need to know the difference between that, can you elaborate, Nelson?
Woo! So the recital is the nice, big, huge performance where you can invite your family and your friends, and everybody can come out and see the piece that you've been playing and performing.
And they
it can be
clap for
something
you,
that
and they
you're
support
into.
you, and they cheer for you, and they make you feel like you're $1,000,000 because they love you.
Exactly. It is a very friendly, welcoming experience. Even if you crash and burn, it's still
Mhm.
pretty great.
Yeah.
Juries, on the other hand, is like, ooh, imagine American Idol where it's just Simon, Simon, and Simon.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
man.
That's
Like,
it.
Oh,
It is.
yeah, I don't want to do that.
Oh,
It's not usually a fun thing. There's no real audience. It's just a panel of people that are here to judge excruciating every single detail of this piece that you were supposed to have mastered. And
mhm.
if it's a collegiate level, then it's several pieces along with scales and all kinds of other technical things that you're supposed to just have down packed.
Oh yeah.
Juries are not usually fun.
The head of our music department, I went to Erskine College in Due West, South Carolina, this tiny little private school, and the head of our music department was this guy named Matthew Manwarren, a brilliant pianist and just musician overall. Just it would blow your mind when you're just talking to him, one-on-one. He's the sweetest little teddy bear, like he not threatening at all, amazing person. You get him in that jury room and it's like he's puts on the face, and he will not crack a smile. He will not show any emotion. It's just like, I am judging you, and the second you screw up, you are done.
Yeah, I know that is the world I came from. I was in classical piano pedagogy and that kind of life since I was 5 years old. I did that all the way up until like my mid-20s.
Oof.
I love that. Now, I know that you've worked with a lot of trainers and coaches throughout your career. What coach did you work with on The Voice, and what was that experience like?
Woo. So on The Voice, I had quite the lineup of people that I got to work with. So I got to work with John Legend. He was my actual coach.
Okay.
He is, and I'm really happy to be able to say this, he's just as cool as you think he is.
Nice.
So that was awesome to find out that like the cameras go off and nothing changes about him, and you're like, oh wait, hold up, you're this cool? Like John Legend is, and I love this teaching style because he also comes from piano.
Okay.
So like I knew that I was going to be able to speak the same language and jargon. Like I know that a lot of what he's going to have to say about singing is going to come from a place of music theory, because when you're a pianist, it's really hard not to. Like that instrument demands so much theory knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. Now, was that the main reason that you chose John as your coach? Because you had a 4-chair turn. You could have chosen any one of them.
Yeah. Who are your options at that time?
So my options were John Legend, Nick Jonas, Kelly Clarkson, and Blake Shelton.
Man, I
could easily see you going with Nick Jonas because he's got that pop star kind of thing going on, and like you do a lot of great pop music as well.
Yeah.
Kelly Clarkson, brilliant. Blake, brilliant. Like that must have been a tough choice.
And it's right there on the spot too.
Yes. See, that's the one thing that I didn't realize. If you've worked on American Idol, you definitely understand how much happens before the cameras turn on, and how many times the cameras turn on before like you actually get the thing that is filmed. You know what I mean? It's a huge process, and in all of that production, I never realized that the decision of what coach you choose, if you get that option, that's not produced. That's a real decision.
Yeah, that's on the spot.
There's no behind the scenes of you have to choose this one if you get no, it's you. There was actually a meeting where some of the producers were telling all the contestants like, hey, just for the record, I know that a lot of you are already leaning towards choosing so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. And that's the case. It's cool. It's just, you've probably never been in the same room as these people. Go in with an open mind. You have no idea how you'll connect to them. And I love that. I think that that's super wholesome and that's smart and that shows integrity and heart on everyone's part. So was I leaning towards John? Absolutely. In a word, because of piano. But after that meeting, I thought about it and I was like, yeah, I've definitely never been in a room with any of these people before. I have no idea what they're gonna say.
Mhm.
And man, I was mentally prepared for the worst because then you can't be disappointed. So I was super like ready with no chairs or one chair. And like the last thing that I was mentally prepared for was everything. Like you don't want to aim that high, but I guess you should. It's a hard thing to give advice for. But wow, I remember that John turned first.
Okay. I was about to
That
ask that.
yeah, that really hit me. Blake turned last.
Okay.
John also blocked Nick Jonas, so I
Ooh,
couldn't. And
feisty.
they only get one block a season.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's a big like. John was like, nope, this guy is the block. So there's so many cool things about. Or I mean, there's so many things that I enjoyed about that experience. And they only air so much. It's crazy how much feedback you actually get versus what's shown.
Yep.
And I knew that I went the first day of the blinds, which was, as you can imagine, super advantageous.
Yep.
I was the first person that John Legend turned for.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
what he said. I wasn't the first person to actually, turn chairs or anything, but it'd been more than half the day of filming and he hadn't turned for anybody. And when he turned, after, I'm done with the song and everything, and they're starting to give the feedback, one of the things he said, he was like, I was waiting for somebody to inspire me. I wasn't going to do it until somebody inspired me. And like that hit pretty hard.
Oh,
That's so cool.
That's such an amazing compliment. You must have been floored.
Yeah, it was the thing that I was least prepared for, was getting everything, Blake also, and that was a crazy thing. I so underestimated Blake because I don't consider myself a country artist, but as I've been touring and everything, and I'm starting to think that maybe I am, but just old school, which is cool because like I love old country. Like, give me some George Strait any day. I love because I'm all the good old fashioned country music came from storytelling. You know what I mean? It was a beautiful perspective of a very interesting and relatable situation. That's it. And it's a great way to tell the story. I love that kind of thing. I totally want to do that. So Blake said, I could see you running the gamut from like Lead Belly all the way to ZZ Top. He's like, I'm not exactly sure what to do with you. There's a lot of different genres that you can do. And that, I almost went with him because of that sentence alone, because that's the name I'm trying to make for myself. You know, like you were there for my show. How many genres?
Oh, yeah. So many genres, so many. And in one song, you would do like a Nirvana song and then go into some R&B and then like, country, like all just mixed it all together. It was great because he does these amazing medleys. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it's really cool that you're mixing the genres up while you're playing. I do very similar stuff in my shows. I play everything from Britney Spears to the Beatles. Like I do all different kinds of stuff, but then I put my twist on it, which is a lot like what you do. You did all these great cover songs, but you always had your twist and your voice, and it was very like personalized. And that's the true beauty of a good cover artist, is when you hear them play something and you're like, oh man, that sounds really good in their voice.
And I love how you said it, because it's true. Like when you cover somebody else's song, there's a certain amount of like honor and homage that you ought to be paying for it. It's like you look at like a Beatles song or Michael Jackson song. It's like, these were masters of the craft. They made masterpieces. You don't ever need to do it the way they did it. We already know how they did it. It was perfect. If you're going to do it, reintroduce it to us, do something weird, something that they didn't do, something that they probably never would have thought about. And it's just, all of a sudden, it's this thing that we loved, and now it's a new color, and we can fall in love with it all over again. And, I mean, that's how I approach it when I'm trying to take a song and do something new to it.
I love that. And, when I'm listening to music and I hear a song that comes out and it's this beautiful song that I love, by say Michael Jackson or the Beatles or a legend, and someone comes back and takes that song and just adds a little something to it that's not taking away from the original artist, but adding to the song. And that to me is just beautiful. And I'm like, oh, I love what they did with it.
I do this slowed down version of Aha's Take on Me. And I do it on piano, and I slow it way down, and it's really beautiful. And a lot of people have come to me and been like, I didn't realize how beautiful the words are to that song until I heard you do it like this, because in that like it's just the words just go by so quickly, and you kind of miss it. But when you like slow something down and take it out of the context of that kind of poppy upbeat kind of thing, and bring it into like this really soulful thing, like you can hear it for what it truly is, and then it's like, oh wow, this song is actually really, really brilliant. And when I started covering that, it gave me such a deeper appreciation for the original that now when I listen to the original, it's just even more beautiful to me.
Yep.
It opens up new layers to this. I absolutely agree. There was Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden.
Yeah, I love that one.
So I don't do the whole slow down approach to every cover, because there are definitely songs where I think that's the best thing that you could do. Take on Me. I would have never thought about that. That's a really good one for that, because there are some words. There's some songs where the lyrics are poetry, but they're not packaged as such, So like Black Hole Sun, I slowed it down. And it was just supposed to be like this really, like, the chord structure is super cool. You don't even have to change that. All you got to do is slow it down, let it ring. And when I started like actually learning the words and everything, I was like, wait, this is so abstract and weird and confusing. I'm like, I didn't know any of this. Hold on. So then I had to start doing research. So I'm like looking up like interviews with Chris Cornell, and I'm like, what the heck did this song mean?
What did it mean?
And there's interviews where he's talking about, we were literally just trying to make a song where nobody could say that it meant anything. The song is supposed to mean nothing. And I was like, that's
so funny.
You can take it and take the words and the lyrics and say, no, this is actually what it means. And then you would just create your own little thing.
Yeah. It was a really interesting experience. Like the actual act of taking it and turning it into something new, because just like you said, the artist that's doing this, now all of a sudden you're in this new position of appreciation. Like I have a whole newfound sense of depth to that song that I did not have at all before I had to learn it like that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That's such a cool thing. And it kind of bleeds into the audience, like I'm positive that, just like you said, people come up to you and they're like, I never knew the words. Like, you reintroduced it to them on a deeper level. And it's so cool.
And it's funny when you do that. And I saw this happen while you were playing several times, is like people would be like, wait, what song is this? I know this song. What? Hang on. This sounds, wait, the chorus. Oh, yeah, I can't believe he's playing that song like that. And like you see their faces light up when you get to that chorus, and it clicks with them what they're actually singing along to. And it's just the most beautiful feeling ever.
What I love is like the whole subverting expectations thing is really fun, but I like finding these patterns, because like to musicians, it's hilarious, because the whole time you're listening, you're like, this shouldn't work. This shouldn't work at all. Like, this makes no sense. To somebody who doesn't know music theory, it's like, all right, that was pretty weird, but it's cool. But like being like, if I were to play Pixies, Where Is My Mind? And I'm doing it justice, like I am playing those chords, that same rhythm in the same order, I shouldn't be able to sing Coldplay on top of that.
Right.
But like there's ways, it works.
Yeah.
And it's the weirdest pattern. And then if I were to just, I don't know, chop up the rhythm, same chords, same order, and it's not even a different rhythm, it's just a different accent on the rhythm. Now it's reggae, and I can make it 21 Pilots.
Yeah.
It's like, where did we make this jump? Nothing changed.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand, that music is just math. And if you master the math, then you can make anything happen within that. I was a chorus and orchestra teacher for about 6 years in the middle school. And I was that cool chorus teacher that
he was the cool one, awards and everything. Yeah.
I would bring in a rock band to accompany the kids during their concert and stuff like that, because, I had all the contacts and it was fun.
You were Jack Black.
Basically. And so we were doing Lost Boy, the I am a lost boy from Neverland, that and as I'm listening to the students sing it, I'm hearing in my head, once I was 7 years old.
Yep.
Like that. And I was like, oh, these songs are the exact same progression. So I just wrote in a little something, split the class in half, had half of them sing Lost Boy, the other sing 7 Years, and it worked beautifully. And it's just so much fun to do that. So can you talk about your process when you're coming up with what songs to include in your medleys and stuff like that?
My process, oftentimes I'm in this room, and it's a lot of thanks to the looper pedal that I use, the RC300 now.
Is that the Boss?
I'll make yeah, Boss. So it's Boss pedal, and it's like I don't know if you could get a view of it when I was performing, but it's like this big old huge pedal that's got 3 channels on it, and you can do like a million things, but I pretty much use it for looping.
Yeah.
So I'll be in my room, I'll be practicing something, because that's like, looper pedals are super good for practicing. You can set your loop and then practice, chord changes, riffs, all kinds of stuff. And I don't know, it's that repetition. In the repetition, like you said, it's math. The numbers start getting clearer. You start seeing other patterns that have always been there. Maybe you just didn't recognize them, because sometimes it takes a while. You look at a really complicated equation, it takes a while before you can start looking at where you can simplify and what order simplification makes the most sense. So when I was doing, let me see, which one do I want to start with? One of my favorites is I think I played Seven Nation Army. And
Yes.
So when I was coming up with that one, I remember seeing somebody actually do the switch from Seven Nation into, why can't I think of the song? I'm gonna fight them all. Seven Nation Army couldn't hold me back. Sweet Dreams, Eurythmics.
Oh, nice.
Is it Eurythmics?
Sweet Dreams?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, just making sure I'm not crazy. I'm like, okay. So,
or Marilyn Manson. I mean, it just depends what you want.
The Marilyn Manson version is so cool. Yo, bonus points for you knowing that. Oh, you're the first person that I've heard that knows that version. I love that version. It's so beautifully weird.
It is very, very weird and beautiful.
Yes. He has a great balance on that. So I heard somebody do that switch, and I was like, that's cool. And then it just opened my mind to the thought of how many other things does it work with? Because it's not a really involved chord progression. So it has to work with a lot of things. So I used to go into Sweet Dreams with a different song, another obscure song. There's an artist, and his name is DeLong, and I can't remember his first name right now. I want
Robert
to say
DeLong. Robert DeLong.
Yes, Robert. Wait, how do you know Robert DeLong?
Because now my favorite color is blue.
I
saw him live. I saw him open up for AJR here in Atlanta.
I saw him open up for AJR at the Palladium in LA.
Oh, we must have seen the same tour, and just friggin' brilliant. So good.
Isn't he amazing? He's so entertaining to watch too.
Yeah, and his light show was just bananas.
The funny thing lasers. I know he does so much cool stuff. He is visually just as entertaining as he is audibly. He's really impressive. And funnily enough, I was more of a Robert DeLong fan than an AJR fan when I went to see that show. I didn't even know who AJR was. I mean, now I freaking love them.
Yeah, they're one of my top favorites right now.
They have my favorite music video of all time right now. I'm curious about when or if something's going to beat it. But if you haven't seen the video to My Play, it's a tearjerker, but it's...
Okay. I haven't seen it. I'll check that out. But
it's so well done.
Yeah, they're brilliant as well. So were you going from Blue to Sweet Dreams? I believe that would work.
No, the long way down. Have you heard that?
Okay. Yeah.
On the long way down, and halfway through the song, you don't recognize that it's happening, but because I'm playing it the whole time, and then halfway through the first chorus, I hit the loop button with, I don't make it like a big deal. I just start looping, and then all of a sudden I stop playing and the loop is still going, and you can sing Sweet Dreams on top of it.
Nice.
And it's really fun. So sometimes it'll be because I heard something and then it's imitation, and then other times it's just it's just experimentation and accidents. Like, because I did that, I realized a couple of other songs that work, and then eventually I just reformatted the whole thing to be on top of a really weird reggae approach to Seven Nation Army. And I was like, this also works with Billie Eilish, and now let's make it super weird, you know? Yeah, it's just,
I
it
love
never
that.
ends.
I love that. Now, I know you've name dropped a lot of artists over this part of the interview, but who are your top musical inspirations?
Jeez, it changes by like the hour. But
Well, right now.
I mean, there's one constant. There's one constant musical inspiration that to the day I die is going to be the top, if not always top three, which is Friedrich Chopin. Because I came from classical piano, you know, the Romantic era was super impressionistic on me. That's ironic, but I love Chopin's work. He influenced me super hard. I did so many reports about his whole life because that man owed the world nothing and left behind some of the best music I think we've like. It's mind-boggling.
You have to have like 12 fingers to play it.
Yeah, it feels like that. But it's so pretty. And when I think about like the kind of stuff that he was listening to and what the world was made out of at that time, like for you to take in all of that and return that, it's just I really love what he did.
I would say that's very similar to say like the Beatles. You know, they were taking all the influences and then they just put out something so drastically different and wild that revolutionized the world. Chopin did very, very similar things. Like he just changed everything from that point on. It was crazy.
And I love that it wasn't like this whole in spite of anything, like I'm just going to be a rule breaker. Like, no, he just felt and then expressed. It was very simple.
Yeah.
And
it was art.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah. I mean, music is art. It's just like any other type of creativity and creation. You are creating something. So when you're leading from your heart, anytime that you create any type of art, you're going to make a path. You're going to make something move and you're going to make emotions happen. And that's why I love music so much, because it inspires emotions and it creates emotions.
Yeah, it has the power to change how you feel. There are songs that you listen to because sometimes you're mad and you need to get through the anger. And there are songs that help you with that. Like they get you to that like crux of anger. And it's like you get to that rage and then it's out of you, you know?
Yeah.
And there are songs that when you're angry and you need to not be angry, it can pull you back. It can calm you down. There are songs that, I mean, Cherry Wine by Hosier is a song that can give me peace. In the middle of almost any other emotion, it will, like that song is a center for me. Because I didn't know what it meant until I had to do research on it. And then it's just, oh man. You ever had a song where you thought it meant something? You do some kind of research, maybe you cover it or something, and then after you understand what it is, you have to just kind of like take a step back because you're like, I was 100% wrong, and I have a newfound sense of respect. Like,
oh yeah,
like Hosier, I think he's definitely in my top three. I think that he is truly one of the great poets of this era. I don't know if he's going to get that kind of. I don't know if people are going to tell him that while he's alive, which pisses me off. But oh man, if people were to take away the music, which is crazy because the music is also world class, but if you were to just read his lyrics, it's enough. Like I thought that Cherry Wine was more of like a declaration of love, you know. I thought that it was this really pretty and beautiful and solemn love letter. And I found out after I was covering it, because I'll go into interviews and I'm really trying to read it and blah blah blah. I always like trying to get firsthand knowledge. I want to hear what the artist says this song.
Right.
And I found out that it was about domestic abuse, but in the opposite way that it's usually portrayed, because it's usually the big strong man bearing down on a woman, which is never okay, but it's like the stereotype. And he was making a song about when it's the other way around and you have I'm not going to say gentle giant, but when you have the man who is being berated by the woman, and it gets to the point where it's physical, and the guy just takes it and refuses to ever swing back. And like the way that he tells us that that's what the song means, and you start looking at the lyrics and you're like, this whole song is a metaphor. Every single line is consistent. There's no continuity problems. I'm like, this is like, it was like 5 new layers of brilliance as soon as he said that, because I was like, the whole context just shifted. Like, one, that's a really cool thing to write about anyway, because that really is the truth to a lot of people out there. And that I think that this is coming into like one of the powers of music that I hope that I really can grab a hold to when I start writing more and more. Music helps people realize that they're not alone.
Right.
It kind of shatters that illusion. Like I wrote my first album.
Ooh, congratulations.
Thank you. Freedom is the first song that I released from that album. I wrote the whole thing in a month when I was incredibly depressed. And I thought that I was the only person in the world who felt like, I thought that I was the only one who's ever felt that bad. So when I was when I was finished with it, because I was so depressed, that whole perfectionist thing where it's not good enough, it's not good enough. When you're that far down, that goes away because you don't care about anything. So I would write and I would write and I would write. And usually in my process, you go back and you trim the fat. And for me, because nothing could ever be good enough, trim the fat was just erase the whole thing because none of it's good. So when I was depressed, I would write and write and write, and I would be like, whatever. And then
good enough.
I came back because, you progress, you deal with it, you get help, you talk about it, you get through it. And I come back and I look at it and I'm like, I actually like this. I'm proud of this. I don't need to change it. So when I would bounce these songs off of friends and I was recording it with my best friends, I found out that I wasn't the only person who felt like this. There was one moment in South Carolina. This was a big one for me. I was playing in Bluffton, I want to say. I wrote the song Good Morning Beautiful earlier that week. I was still a very sad person, but I've been doing this for years. So the professionalism of knowing how to act right and look right on stage, I've got that down. So nobody else is really I'm not going to give anybody a reason to bear in on this. So I'm up on stage and I tell people that I wrote a song earlier this week and I just want to see how it goes. And I play the song. And I mean, as you can imagine, it's pretty heavily sentimental to me. Like this is where I am. I think I sing the chorus maybe 3 times. And, on the 3rd time, it's like chorus and outro. And I'm just kind of in it, from that first note, I'm gone. And there was a moment where I came back, which is very rare for me. That's probably happened less than 5 times my whole life. And I came back because I heard the crowd singing my song back. And I mean, I had to fight tears because it's so easy to assume that whatever you make is bad and not good. It's like we spend so much time as any kind of creator or artist being able to mentally prepare for the fact that I need to get better. Whatever this is, it's whatever, and I'll get better. It's hard to come to terms with making something that maybe has substance, matters, helps somebody, relates to people. I don't even want to use the word is good because it's like it's hard to get there. So when all these people are singing the lyrics back to me, it blew my mind. It was uplifting to all these people. These people, I mean, I can't say that they understand exactly what I'm going through, but they obviously, like, whatever it is that they're picking up on, all of them are picking up on it together, and we're all sharing this moment. And that blew my mind.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love it.
That has happened with almost every single song off the album on live performance.
That's so cool.
I love it. I love it. And when you resonate with your listeners and They, like we said earlier, they are feeling the feels, they're feeling the emotions of what you created and your vision. It's so cool to see you and Jesse sharing your ideas and sharing your stories, because I see a lot of you in Jesse, and I see a lot of Jesse in you. And I just want to say that, like, you guys are awesome, first and foremost. I can't do what you do. I know a lot of listeners out there can't do what you guys do. So you're the artists, you're the creators that have to keep going and motivating. And it really comes from wherever you are in life. If you're depressed, believe it or not, there's going to be many other people who are in that same exact feels. And, you can also write a song about how to get out of that.
Yep.
And as they're following your journey, you can show them the way. And I think it's just beautiful, and I love it.
I think, now that I'm where I am now, because I'm definitely not in the abyss. Like I'm very happy right now. Like I said, I'm in a place where I can recognize, I can appreciate all this beauty that's around me.
Yeah.
I would say that the coolest thing about, what I wrote back then wasn't that it was all dark and depressing. Like Freedom does not sound like a song that somebody made when they were depressed. It doesn't, it's very upbeat and happy and blah, blah, blah. Like I wasn't trying to be this huge downer. Some of my songs, a little more obvious that I was struggling, but still, it's like I was never trying to, like, nothing that I've written is like spiteful or angry. Not to say that can't be a good, conduit. It's just what I want to convey with my music is more often than not positive. And with Freedom, it was supposed to be more of like it's a celebration. It's like an exclamation, like, I don't know how many people have ever been like legit prisoners, but metaphorically, I can't imagine anybody not knowing what that feels like. So that moment where you have freedom, maybe autonomy, maybe you finally got that job and now you can move out, or you can do what you want with your time or your money. Maybe it's you got the degree and so now you're free to even look for the job. Maybe it's, maybe it's a status quo thing. Like in Freedom, the first verse is talking about a woman who gets hit on by a guy at a bar, walks up, asks, "Can I get you a drink?" And what if the woman is like, "Ugh, I'm tired of this. How about I'm on the prowl and I see if I can get you a drink?" Like they want freedom from that kind of thing. And like, it's because I was struggling with all these things. I'm like, why is everything so like this? It's not even organized. It's just, why is it structured like this? And it's so hard to break out of a status quo. So freedom from a lot of these different things. And it's the last verse is the creator sense, like I'm in my head a lot. I feel like most artists are. It's just it's part of the curse. And then I'm curious about if we relate on this too. Just like with the stage fright, as soon as I start playing, I'm gone. That is the freedom. Like I might have stage fright when I walk on the stage. I might have stage fright while I'm hearing the crowd as I'm getting to my spot. But as soon as it starts, I am free. I can be anywhere. And that's like that. The song is supposed to be, I mean, it's literally the words, but it's all of those things, and I feel like that's cool. There's going to be people that relate to that in ways that I've never even experienced, but that's beautiful. Like it's not always just, oh, I've been really sad too. It's, I've also triumphed, or I also think that this is something that we can change, or this is something that I think is beautiful. And it's like any of these different things can be something that, a listener can latch onto or question or critique. And it's just, I feel like if it's thought provoking, there's even value in just that alone,
Yes.
Yeah. And I totally understand the writing through depression to help you cope with it, but then it also taking shape into something that like helps other people. I went through a divorce several years ago, and during that process of while my marriage was ending, and even the day I moved out, I wrote a song about it. And that's how I always dealt with my emotions. Whenever shit was hitting the fan, like I would just grab my guitar and I'd get by myself and I'd deal with it that way. And it was not uncommon at all for many, many people to reach out to me and be like, oh man, like every one of these songs on this album is exactly what I'm feeling, exactly what I'm going through. Thank you so much for writing this, because like it gives words to the things that I couldn't express otherwise. And I think that's our job as musicians, is to give a platform for people to find words that they don't know how to say themselves. And then once they can do that, then they can sing those words along with us, and it gives them a voice that they didn't already have. And it helps them to deal with their emotions and their frustrations and their depression or their happiness and their goals and
Or
whatever.
love, or
The love.
whatever.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so like now that I'm in a happy place in my life, I don't write depressing songs anymore. I write songs that encourage people, but all my depressing stuff is still out there. So, you know, if people are going through that, they can hit up that. If they are, wanting to get out of the rat race that we're in right now, working 9 to 5 and only living for the weekends, like they can listen to my new songs. And because that's the stuff I'm writing about now, is just like you're saying, having freedom, like getting out of the system, because the system is broken and we have to get out of it. And people have to stop living this messed up world the way that they're living in it. And so I'm going to write songs about that, because that's my passion. That's my joy. It's what I think about constantly. And whatever I'm thinking about constantly is what's going into my music. And if I'm thinking about it constantly, there's a good chance that somebody else is thinking about it constantly. And then when they hear it, they're going to connect to it. They're going to love it. They're going to grasp hold of it, and they're going to internalize it. And it's going to be a part of their story from that point on. And so it's not just a song anymore, but it's somebody's story that you're writing.
Right. And it's additive, whatever human experience you're having, that kind of music, it's additive. It adds to it. Oh, I love that. I think that's
love it. Love it. Now, I know that you're on tour right now, and it's so exciting. You have a couple of days off. You're at home. And if you guys can't see, he's doing a little dance, definitely reach out, get on our Patreon so you can see it. But you were playing shows before you went on The Voice, and you were out there, you were doing music, writing music. How, what's it been like after The Voice? How many doors has it opened? What's the opportunity like now?
So, in a nutshell, I had a unique experience on The Voice, because although it definitely did help and open doors, we got interrupted by COVID.
Yes.
So it was a lot of both ways on it. I'm sure that this is a part of the reason that I, went into the depression, because it's difficult, I can't speak about how crazy some of these doors were that were being opened, but all of them went away once everything started shutting down. And that's difficult to deal with, like, here's a guy, I was the person who was struggling with, am I good enough? Am I good enough? Maybe I'm good enough. And then this happens. Like, I turned 4 chairs.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I might be good enough. And then all these doors start opening. Like, I was being offered some things that would have literally changed my entire life, which was exciting. Like, I'm happy that I even have that. But as things start closing down, the state starts shutting down, doors start shutting down, like, this is getting serious. Masks start going up. People have to stop doing like these huge multi-million-dollar tours. All of the things that I was getting start going away. People stop responding to emails. The phone calls aren't doing anything anymore. And then everybody has to sit on their hands. Like, it was like 3 years of that. I mean, and I'm praying that it's just over for good, but like, there's people that are still being cautious, and I can't argue with it. Like, I get it. So practically speaking, it's been a positive thing that I've been on The Voice. Like, if I go to cities that I've never been to, there are people that will come just to see me, which is awesome. It always blows my mind when somebody comes up and wants a picture or an autograph, or just like, I love that. That's always going to be a boost for me. It makes me feel good,
We got a picture with you.
Yes. And I guarantee you it gave me a boost. I don't think I'm ever going to be at the place where that feels tedious to me. I'm always going to be like, this is hilarious. So that's been really cool. You know, it's gotten me into certain venues that I couldn't have gotten into. Well, maybe I
Mhm.
couldn't, but like it's made a lot of new gigs more feasible. It's made certain venues easier to get access to. There are so many things in the works. Like, okay, in the next, what are we in, July right now?
Mm-hmm.
In the next 3 months, depending on a couple of phone calls, because nothing's a deal until it's a deal. I
Right.
might, I've got some shows in DC. I have something off. This is gonna be so cool. This is one of my favorite gigs that's happening this year is a Songwriters Fest off the coast of Florida in Fort Myers, I think.
Hmm.
It's an island hopping kind of a thing.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's gonna be basically vacation. I can't wait.
Oh, that's
I get
gonna
to
be
go from
awesome.
island to island. I'm gonna
Yes.
literally be getting off of a fishing boat and then walk onto a stage. That, like, that
That's
sounds
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Sign
looking
us
forward to it.
up.
Right? God, yeah. Actually, yeah, we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, let's.
I got you. So there's all kinds of other things that might be happening. I might be going to Wyoming
Mm.
and I've got some. I already said the thing about DC. Oh, Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be flying to Atlanta in like what
48
2 days?
hours. Yep.
Yeah. Do you remember the band that we got to see them, Madame Vega?
Yeah,
Yes.
they're great.
Yes.
Love Madame Vega.
So I'm going to be working with them, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Nice.
Oh, congratulations.
So where in Atlanta are you playing?
I don't even think I'm going to be performing. We're going to be doing. I'm sure we're going to be doing some writing, but that's
Mhm.
not exactly why. I don't think I'm allowed to say everything that's going on,
All
but
right.
I can tell you that I'm going to be doing some filming with Madame Vega.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
That's cool.
Very cool.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. When we were touring all of Texas, all of those Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, they were playing all the same shows. So I really got to see who they are and get to actually chill with them. And wow, it's a really endearing experience when you find out that somebody is just as impressive off stage as they are on stage.
Mhm.
I was like, I like all of you guys.
Yeah, they were super cool. I connected a lot with their drummer, Mike,
Gabe.
Gabe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gabe. Yeah, Gabe. And he was just a really, really great guy. But I tell you who I'm the most impressed with is their guitar player and
Malcolm.
singer. Oh man, like he's got to be classically trained. That guy is a beast, both
Mhm.
vocally and on guitar. So major props to him. And that's super cool that you get to work with them. The whole band was freaking cool,
Mhm.
and they were just great people and fun to be around. Very like helpful. You know, they let us use their kit that night, so we didn't have to break down and set up another drum kit, and just really, really great overall. Fun to be around. And that's the kind of people that in the music industry you want to partner with
Yeah.
and to do cool
Agreed.
things with.
Yeah.
They're easy to work with, and it's like I don't have to like I just when you just have a bunch of good humans, you know, it just
Yep.
makes things so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's always my goal when I go to a new venue or a new city or wherever I'm going is how can I be the most laid back, chill, easy to work with person possible? And it's so telling to the people that you're working with because they work with a lot of douchebags in the industry.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people who have this rock star mentality and they walk in, they're like, where's this? Why can't I have
Where's my
this in my
zero?
monitor? You know, where's all my Avion water? You know, like all this like crazy stuff. And it's like, dude, you're just a person. Just get up there and do what you love and quit being a diva. And you know, those people, the venues don't want to work with them again. They don't want to hire them back. They don't want, you know, recording producers don't want to work with those divas. Like
Mhm.
it's always best, no matter what field you're in, no matter what you're doing, to walk in humbly and appreciative and to go in there with the idea of, man, I can't even believe that people are wanting me to do this. I'm so blessed to be able to do this. And so I'm going to do the best I can for them and just be as chill about it as possible, because that's when you get asked back over and over and over to come places and people want to work with you. And that's like you were that way. Madame Vega is that way. I try to always be that way. And it's just it's a tell in a lot of artists when you can tell the difference between which side they're on that.
That is to all of the people listening. That is like world class advice. I've been invited to do a couple master classes at various colleges and high schools and whatnot, and I don't, most of the times when I approach a master class, I try to go against the grain of what they usually are, which is like, we're going to take this one piece and we're going to break it down. We're going to do all this stuff. And I'm like, I try to make it like more of a gigging thing. Like, how can we make this something that you can actually turn into a, influx of money? Like, how can you actually profit off of this?
Yeah.
In classical training, they don't teach you how to monetize this, which
Nope.
is such a frustrating thing to look at a systematic level. Like, why isn't that an entire class? It should be.
It's like, are you going to play weddings? Like, what? How are you going to make money?
Exactly, because it's like there is ways to do it and be successful, but like, man, if you don't have nepotism on your side, I don't know how you're supposed to figure that out. It takes a long time. So what Jesse is saying is right on the mark. I've been telling people that for years. Being excellent and good at your craft, is that a good thing? Of course it is. But correct me if I'm wrong. When it comes to succeeding in this line of work, I would say your actual skill level amounts to less than 20% of what actually matters.
That you're absolutely not wrong about that.
Right? Like, if you act right, if you are an easy person to work with, if you're humble, if people enjoy being around you, if you are somebody who shows up early, is willing to stay late, if you're not
professional
work, if you're professional, like if you do all of these things, the amount of opportunities that will stay open, let alone just open, I mean, it's night and day. Because you could be, I think I can tell you this. Even on my season of The Voice, there was a contestant, and I'm not going to mention their name, but there was a person who I would say came incorrectly. And their skill level was insane. This person had so much talent. Oh, wow. It was truly a sight to behold. I'm talking vocal control, whisper tones. They could do the runs. They had tone out the amount of different things they can do with their voice was ridiculous. And they were young. The potential was insane. This person would have had it in the bag. They would have swept the floor. But they came in correctly. They were difficult to work with. They made a lot of problems for a lot of other people. And it's just like, even if you're that amazing, you're not worth all these problems.
Yeah.
And it's that simple. And it was frustrating to watch because like, you want this person to get their chance. Like,
right.
If you get in front of 5 people, that's going to change your life. So they were excused before any filming happened. And it was sad, but it just goes to show, like, being humble, coming correct, that isn't something that's only going to help you with low-level gigs. That goes all the way
every
up
way.
Yes. There are superstars where if you're not easy to work with, they're going to find people that are leagues below your capability just because they're easier. And that's it. That will be the only reason.
And you do not want to get blacklisted. That is the worst thing you could possibly do to your career, is blacklist yourself.
It's a very expensive problem. It's also sticky.
Yes.
The only way to get out of that is with money, because you're gonna have to pay to do every single thing now.
Yeah. Now, Nelson, I know we've talked a little bit about your album and a couple of your tracks, but can you tell us a little bit more about your album? When is it launching? When is it coming out, releasing? Do you have any music videos that's coming out with it? What's going on with it?
So full disclosure, oh man, because it's my first, I'm figuring a lot of this out as I go. My freedom wasn't even, all these words mean something new to me now. Freedom wasn't launched. It should have been, but I didn't know better. It was released, I made a couple of posts and I was like, hey, come check out my song. And then I just dropped it on Spotify and all the things, which, was cool. I feel like that's a lot of indie artists, that's like the first thing that we do. We just put
Mhm.
it out there. But then I did research and I learned that, oh no, you're supposed to actually have a campaign and you're supposed to get onto things like podcasts and talk shows and all
Mhm.
these things to try to promote it. So that is what I'm going to be doing
Okay.
for the next few songs. But I had to get there and learn that. And I don't know when I'm going to be releasing the whole album. I don't have a drop date just yet.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure that out. I do know that the next song that I want to release should be coming out August 4th. I'm still looking for a launch platform. I've been looking at Groover specifically because I like some of their packages. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to figure out smart ways of going about it. But
Well, you and Jesse should talk after this. He could probably give you some, because he's already released one full album, and he's almost finished with his second full album.
Yeah, I
That's
just dropped my second single
Yeah.
just the other day,
Yeah.
actually.
see, like I'm so proud of the songs that I have, and I'm like already like halfway into the second album. There's all this stuff that's happening. I'm like, I haven't even released this stuff, but I'm like, I don't care. Like I'm already working again.
Yep.
'Cause
It's
I
so
mean,
hard to sit on music and just to
yeah,
hold it and wait to put stuff out. Like I've got another 8-song full-length album that's done, and I've
well,
released 2 singles.
Yeah. He just has to sit on
And
it.
I'm just like, I
He's
just
like,
want
I
to
want to
put
tell the
I just want to put it
world.
out. I just want people to hear these songs already.
right. It's that's the strange business part of this
Yeah.
whole line of work, like
Yeah.
there's
The
strategy that
promotion.
goes into when we release something versus how we release something
Yep.
versus how hard we go into launching it. Like, and I am just entering into that room and starting to like notice the stuff and see it. I'm still trying to make sense of it. I am not an expert, but oh man, I
And-
acknowledge that it's significant. It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
You gotta do that stuff.
Do you have a producer, management, all that stuff?
My producer, for the album, totally unrelated is what I'm gonna call the album. And
Cool.
his name is Josh. He's amazing. Joshua Abelson. He is so good at what he does. Oh my God. He's my best friend.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah, when the whole making of the album, it was a pretty cool story. I'm not gonna lie. Like, here's depressed little me. I write all these songs while I'm like on tour, and I'm just, I'm in my head just trying to deal with things. I'm dealing with my first heartbreak. I've been in a relationship for 15 years.
Oh,
Wow.
goodness.
Yeah, I'm barely turning 30, so that's half my life.
Oh
Mhm.
my
was
goodness.
Wild. I was deep down in the abyss.
Mhm.
So when I had all the songs done, I was telling, I was like sending like audio files back and forth to him, and we were like, oh, this is cool and this is good. And what if we did this and blah blah blah? Because I don't have like production skills just yet. It's something that I want to work on, but that's his skill set.
Yeah.
So he's like, dude, these are like record worthy. Like we could make these. And I was like, I mean, I'm down.
Mhm.
I spend my last dollar on the plane ticket, on the round trip ticket there and back. I don't know where I'm gonna stay. I already know that Josh has got the studios and everything booked, but I didn't know anything else and how it was gonna work, and I didn't care. I was like, come hell or high water, I'm gonna have recorded this stuff by the time I leave. So Josh let me live with him for like the entire time I was there.
Aw.
And yeah, I'm telling you, like he took care of me. He was everything that a good friend needs to be and more. And I will always give him his due because it was amazing. And yeah, we recorded the whole thing in a month. All live instruments, all
Nice.
live microphones. There's like everything that you hear on this album is one of 3 people. It's either me, Joshua's production, or Austin. Austin is the only other instrumentalist on the album. He plays bass and drums. So if you hear a piano, that's me playing. It's not a synthesizer. It's like actual. And then if you hear any other instrument, it's not bass and drums, because there's some stuff in the album. It's a lot more than just the analog thing. We had so much fun, but oh man, he's my producer. As far as management goes, I do have a management team. It's Charming Sun Productions.
Mhm.
So if anybody is trying to be a part of it or help or reach out, that is the place to go to. You can find them via my Gmail or my website. If you Google me, it'll come up.
Perfect.
But yeah, a lot of this is, I'm learning a lot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely. Now, I know you talked a little bit about your relationships, and we don't have to get too in depth, but how has being on tour and how being a musician, being on The Voice, doing all these big things, how has it affected your relationships? Not just the one that ended, but your friendships and your family relationships.
It's surprising that I've never actually been asked that before. First, and I love the question. It's a really good question. I have been the morphable piece for a long time socially. So I tend to do well in relationships with other people. Like if somebody and I don't, go together, it's going to be noticeable in the beginning. And so then it never becomes like this weird fallout situation.
Yeah.
Um,
You have to have that vibe at the very beginning, and then you just always have that vibe.
exactly.
Yeah.
I would say being on The Voice did not, that's a double negative. That's weird. Being on The Voice, I think it was kind of a non-factor. There was something that was significant, but that's because I'm a weird case. If you can believe this. When I was on The Voice, we have to be sequestered. We are like legally their property for a while. We can't just go wherever we want while we're filming. So we have to stay at this location for a long time. We're there for a minute. That first night when we're at one of the hotels, that was the first night in over 10 years that I slept in a bed that didn't have her in it. And I was really confused why they made beds so big. Like, there's so many things that you'll never really understand, and that led to a bit of my identity crisis, because like all of a sudden I start becoming aware of certain things that I don't know and I should know them. And I was like, well, that's confusing, but I wouldn't say that it like put a strain on anything. It's not like there was no kind of like secret hookups or anything like that going on. I didn't have to deal with any kind of infidelity or anything, which is grateful for that, got to stay faithful for the whole time. I will say the physical distance when it comes to touring, that's put a damper on certain things. Like, I don't get to see my little sister as much as I'd like to. I don't get to see pretty much
any of your friends.
Any of my friends as much as I like to. Like, I don't know how much touring you've done, but the weird thing about touring is that every day, all day, you're pretty much surrounded by strangers. That's life. And I don't want to say that it takes a mental toll on you, but it's weird. It's like
you're always on.
You have to be real familiar with yourself, because if you're not, then everything is foreign all the time. And I would have to argue, maybe like there's a part of that that's unbalanced, maybe even unhealthy. There's a way to go about that is healthy, but if you're not prepared, it can be rough.
I feel that.
Well, this brings us to my favorite part of the podcast, Melissa's favorite part of the podcast, and just the thing that we started this podcast in order to do, and that is to celebrate people's success. Because a lot of times, especially musicians and artists and people who are creatives, we'll
forget.
We'll be like, all right, I finished this. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And
any celebration.
We don't stop and take the time to appreciate where we've been, what we've done, and what's happening in our immediate lives. So what is a success that is going on in your life, either like real recently, or something that you just want to, that's coming up that you're super excited about, and you just want to celebrate it publicly with us and our audience and everybody that's listening?
A success that's super recent. Let's see. I mean, one success is that I know that I'm going to be getting better at releasing songs, but
That's always a success when you release a song. That is a success in itself. Even after you write the lyrics, or Jesse comes up with his beats, it's every single step is a success, and you have to celebrate it.
You know what? There's one thing, and I wouldn't say it's recent, but I do think it's the big success that I've had in a minute, and it's one that I didn't get to celebrate, which is so cool. Thank you for this. I like this part too. You really don't think about this.
You don't.
I wrote a song, same group of friends in Nashville. We spent like a weekend there. It was super like spur of the moment too. Josh called. He's like, "Hey, do you have this weekend open?" I was like, "I mean, I can have it open." He's like, "Awesome. Here's your ticket. We're going to Nashville." I was like, "Okay." It was so much fun. We went, and when we got there, he told us that he booked a studio. We're gonna write a song, and I was like, "I don't have a lick. I don't have an idea. I have nothing." And he's like, "That's fine. We're gonna make it up." I think that what we wrote is one of the best songs that I've ever written. That's for sure.
Nice.
I'm so proud of that song. It was so ambitious. Oh man. The chord structure is really cool. I feel like nothing's ever new or unique, but it's definitely not something that I think a lot of people are going to be used to hearing. I'm happy about that. But the crazy part was what it means to me and the ending. We did this crazy like chorus, as in like a choir kind of a thing. It was 150 vocal takes.
Oh, wow.
On top of each other in different registers to actually make a choir.
Ooh.
And it was all three of us singing on each take.
Gang vocal, the whole way. Love it.
It was wild, and it was so much fun at the studio that we were in. It was like the best mics and equipment, so we just had a blast. And there was a really vulnerable moment, and I would argue that this is, if it's not the most vulnerable thing I've written, it's like number 2. It's because I was talking about something that is really near and dear to me, but I usually keep it under wraps. But I'll tell you guys, like, the words are, "If I'm honest, I'm not proud that I want everything." So there's that whole like ambition thing. I feel like every artist is kind of on a different page. Some artists, they want to, play at a coffee shop every week, and like that's it. That's what they want, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like if that's your ambition, that's beautiful. It's what you want. Own it. That's cool. There are some people that want to be the favorite son in their local area, maybe their state, maybe their country. There's some people that want to see their name in lights. There's some people that want to be on TV. There's so many different levels to it. And when I think about mine, it's like, I want to get as big as it gets, like one of my goals as far as like where I want to play, like I want to perform in, Wembley. Like I want to stand where the greats stood, I want to do all of it. And oftentimes I beat myself up for that, because I'm just like, I feel like that's unbalanced. I feel like it's kind of bad that I want all of it, like I feel like it's a lot. And struggling with that whole imposter syndrome where it's like, am I good enough? Am I good enough? Am I making anything that's good enough? Blah, blah, blah. Like you pair those two things together and they conflict really hard. And it's like this constant mental battle where I want it all. And it's like, yeah, but do you deserve it all? And that those lines are kind of just conflicting with each other in that, huge choral thing. So we have what I'm saying, and then we have what the choir is saying, and then it kind of like fades out and it's just me. And it was a realization that I had in the studio when my friends were asking me about the lyrics, because they're like, well, what's the song supposed to be about? Because it was kind of abstract before that. And I'm not gonna lie, it kind of broke down a little bit, because it was one of those things where you didn't realize that you were thinking this way until somebody pressed you about it. I was like, I don't know if I deserve any of this stuff, let alone all of it. Like, I'm definitely not proud that I want everything, but when I think about it, I'm kind of ashamed that I want anything sometimes. Like sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough for anything. So that became the lyric, you know? It was this huge back and forth with, if I'm honest, I'm not proud that I want everything. The choir responds. And then at the end of it, it all fades out. And it's like, if I'm honest, I'm not proud that I want anything. And I just, every time I listen to, because the crazy thing is the song is done now. It's not even going to be on the first album. This is like second album stuff and it's done.
Nice.
Oh.
Nelson, it's really humbling that you are open and honest about your feelings, because I know there's so many people struggling with that exact same thing. They don't feel like they're good enough for whatever gift that they have inside of them. But we always have to remember that we were given a gift for a reason, and our gift is to share that with the world, and to share that with the world in this day and age, in this earth that we're in and we're living in right now. We have to share it with everyone, and which means we have to be big enough and we have to have it all in order to have a voice and change anything in life that we want to change.
I like that.
We have the same mentality about wanting it all. We even have tattoos that say all the things.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
She's got it on her back.
Yeah.
That was our hashtag while we were dating, because
all the things. We want all the things too, Nelson. We want it all. And you know what? We are all worthy of all of these things in life, because that's how we make a difference.
Yeah,
that was actually starting to believe that.
That was actually the title track. I did an EP called All the Things, and then I re-released it on my next record, but titled the record something differently. But anyway, I'd written a song for Melissa about our relationship, but about life, and about how, the chorus says, I want it all the things I've always dreamed, the love, the joy, adventure, all with you. There's just so much in this world to experience, and there's so much stuff that we can't even fathom that we could love and enjoy. And if we don't go for it, we won't get it. And it's just, it's one of those hard things to balance the internal struggle of, okay, I want all these people to listen to the songs I write, but are the songs I write even good? But then you have to say, it doesn't matter, what I think, because if I'm doing what's in my heart and what I feel, then that's good enough, because it's my truth. And then if other people want that truth, then they can get a hold of it and listen to it. And if they don't, then they don't have to. But I'm going to keep doing my truth, and wherever that takes me is where I want it to go. And hopefully it's going to take me as far as possible.
Yes.
That was the magic word. I agree with everything that you just said, because that has been my new way of getting rid of that whole delete when I trim the fat. It's not, is it good enough? It's, is it true? Is it
real?
And if I can say yes to that, just let it be.
Yep.
Yeah,
I love that.
I've tried real hard lately in my writing to be as vulnerable as possible with the things that I'm saying, because there's a lot of things in me that I struggle with. And for a long time, I had unbelievably low self-esteem and self-worth issues. And it's only recently that I've actually really loved myself, and I've been able to kind of take hold of that. And so I just want to encourage,
feeling to be there.
Yes, it's such a good feeling. Oh my God. And I just want to encourage you, as somebody who is brilliant and is talented and is just a wonderful human being. You're just a great person. And I just want to encourage you that not only are you good enough, but you
deserve it.
You are more than worthy and deserving, and that you've got a voice that needs to be heard. Not that could be heard, but needs to be heard. And we just want to encourage you to keep on pushing and get that out there.
All the way, all the things, baby, all the things, Nelson.
All the things. I like that.
All right, so let's tell our listeners where they can find you at.
So you can find me on I post most of my things on my IG, which is Nelson Cade 3. It's Nelson Cade the third. If you Google me, you'll find pretty much everything. My website has a lot of cool stuff on it. My music is on all the things. It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. I think I have it on. I think I might even have some things on SoundCloud. I'm not even sure. It's, I went through
out there.
DistroKid, so it's on all the things.
Okay, cool. And so what's one piece of advice that you want to give to someone who's trying to get on a show like The Voice?
My advice is Start now. Like,
Mhm.
I wish that somebody would have told me when I was a kid, you don't have to wait till you're an adult to be professional or to be good at something. You can just decide that I'm a professional, and then
Yeah.
you can just be professional. That could happen today. That is a decision that only has to take as long as you decide it takes. And from that day, all you have to do is get better and get better and get better and get better. If you want to get onto the show,
Apply.
it's just you go for it. Like there's a million and one things that can happen. Really, the worst thing that happens is that you don't get on. That's fine. You try again next year.
Yeah.
You try other shows. You all you have to do is get better. And like I can't stress this enough. Getting better happens faster than most people realize if you're consistent. That doesn't necessarily mean 3 hours every day in this crazy huge thing. Like you can do 30 minutes every day and you'd be surprised at where you'd be in a week, let alone a month.
Yeah.
like I know you know that because like that's the kind of thing that every teacher is trying to tell their students. Like if you skip a day, it makes such a huge difference.
If you would just spend some time,
it does not need to be this huge giant chunk of your day. I mean, it's the consistency. That's what does it.
Yep.
We love it.
Yeah, it's yours for the taking. It's a great experience if you allow it to be.
That
Great
is so
advice.
awesome.
Great advice. Yeah, Nelson, I just admire you so much, and where you are going is just phenomenal. We are just so blessed to have you in our life and to be friends, and for you to do everything it is that you are doing in your life and to keep going. We're just so thankful and proud of you, and you are going to be a superstar. And you say that to yourself every single day. My music is going to be everywhere, and it's going to be all over the world.
Yes.
I'm okay with that.
Just keep saying it to yourself.
This conversation has been so much fun for me. It's very rare that I actually get to geek out with other music people. And so I've enjoyed this thoroughly. Thank you so much for coming on, for taking time between your unbelievably busy schedule to carve out an hour and a half now to speak to us. And you're amazing. And I couldn't appreciate you more.
Yes.
I feel honored to have been invited to this podcast. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, friendly and familiar faces, they do your heart a lot of good, and it was so cool to see you guys again. You both made me feel very welcome first time we met. That's always going to be what I appreciate more than anything.
Oh, we love that.
Thank you so much.
And we will bring you back on very soon to talk about how the tour went and where you're at and catch up, so our listeners can catch up with you too.
Yeah, we'll definitely bring you on after that album drops, so that way we could talk about all the great things you're doing to promote it. So
You got it.
All right.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Wow. What is such an inspirational guy. Like,
yeah, he's fun. He's likable. He's just a good guy. And for me, there's nothing better than getting to nerd out with another music geek and just talk all things music. It's too fun. I apologize to all of our listeners if you were bored at any point where we were talking about music, but that's my bread and butter. And I'm not sorry. You just have to deal with it.
We do have some awesome bonus content from after we let him go. So if you would like to listen to that, head over to patreon.com/creativeglobal, only $5. And you can get all of our videos. You can get ad-free episodes, and you can get the episodes early. So in Tuesdays instead of Thursdays.
Yeah, because who wants to wait till Thursday when you can have it on Tuesday on video with no ads? So you'd be silly not to just pay $5 for that. $5, you probably lose that amount of money and you don't even blink. So just send it our way and you'll get so much great stuff and you won't regret it.
Yeah. And we are so thankful to have all of you guys all over the world listening and tuning in. Don't forget to share your success stories with us. We want to hear the big and small, what it is that that's going on in your life that you would like to share with us. So hit us up on, we're at
At Reimagine Success
Yeah.
Pod, literally everywhere.
Reimagine Success Pod, Instagram, Facebook.
ReimagineSuccessPod.com.
Yep.
So get on there, shoot us a message. ReimagineSuccessPod@gmail.com is another great way to send us a message. You can't forget it. It's super easy. And we want to hear from you because we don't do this to just celebrate people who are out in the world doing big things. We want to hear from everybody and promote celebrating success.
Yes.
We want to hear about what made you jump up and down
Yeah.
and smile and laugh this week. And it
makes us happy.
Yeah, it really, really makes our week better.
Right. And please share with your friends, your family. Word of mouth is everything for us. So we definitely need you guys to tell people about Reimagine Success and what it means to you. And if you're tuning in every single week, we appreciate you. We love you. And we just want you guys to be and live the best, happiest lives that you possibly can.
Yeah. And so with that, this has been a Creative Global Podcasting production.
Did you get motivated? Do you feel inspired?
Don't worry about keeping up with the Joneses anymore. And don't forget to celebrate your successes every single day. Thank you for taking this journey with us.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Reimagine Success Pod. Email us at reimaginesuccesspod@gmail.com and let us know what your successes are. Head over to patreon.com/Creative Global for bonus and behind the scenes content.
New episodes every Thursday at reimaginesuccesspod.com or your favorite podcast streaming platform.
So let's change our mindsets and reimagine success.